We are here, you are there, with Allan Beswick.
Good evening. How are you?
BBC Radio Manchester.
We've got no BBC Radio Merseyside with us tonight. You may have heard, I don't know, you might be surprised, but there's a music competition going on, and they think they've just decided we can go to hell. They're going to have fun with music. So good luck to them, I say. Eurovision, of course. BBC Radio Merseyside have been deeply involved in it since the day it arrived in Liverpool. Well, since they were told it was going to be in Liverpool. But certainly they've been very much involved this past fortnight, and certainly all last week and tonight. They've taken over the airwaves and they're having a ball, I'm sure. But you and I are here trudging along without strange music, although we do play some strange music from time to time. If you want to join us, it's just the same. If you want to listen to the commentary and the scouse, if you will, involvement in Eurovision, it's all right. I was watching it earlier, and apparently there's a red button on the BBC, and you can have the commentary in Scouse, which would have been just brilliant, I suspect. I didn't try it, but I'm sure it would. Anyway, if you want to find out what's going on with Eurovision, and you're not near a telly, and you don't want to do Radio 2 or any of that other stuff, then BBC Radio Merseyside, our sister station, or one of our trio of stations, is broadcasting all about that tonight. So they'll be right through to 1 o'clock in the morning, having their own kind of strange music party. We, of course, will carry on doing what we do, which is talk until the dead of night, unless, of course, you all decide to watch or listen to Eurovision, which would be perfectly fine. We can play music just as easily. Any road up. The telephone number, if you do want to take part, is 0800 218 2255, and you will be more than welcome. And great team tonight, of course. Marlon taking your calls, Talat doing the producing, Jane man-handling or woman handling, or should that be person handling the buttons, and I'm mangling the language, clearly. 0800 218 2255 is the number if you wish to join us. And apart from Eurovision, believe it or not, there have been one or two other things going on this week. For example, the coronation just passed us by last weekend, and I said then that I thought the star of the show was Penny Mordaunt, and she continues to get deserved applause for her sword-carrying duties, and is now said to be back in contention for the Tory leadership, especially after Sunak got stuffed at their recent election, the local election. Then the Tories got absolutely hammered, did they not? Predictably so, but hammered nonetheless. And so now they're thinking, hang on a minute, do we need a new leader? Do we really? We've tried him, and better than the others. But then there's her, Mordaunt. She was nearly there last time. Maybe we should go to her. It is a strange world indeed. And you fuss, how much trouble did you have to be in when you can be suggested as a leader of a country based entirely on your ability to stand still holding a fancy stick? Extraordinary. And speaking of extraordinary politics, Donald Trump has been ordered to pay by a civil court to pay $5 million to a woman who he sexually assaulted in a changing room some years ago. He continues to deny it and says, I don't know who the woman is, and he plans to appeal the judgment. Meanwhile, the women of America are forming an orderly queue. ITV got more than 4,000 complaints because someone in their coronation commentary team described the Buckingham Palace balcony as a white balcony. Not a dark face to be seen, it would seem. Say what you like about accuracy, it has no place in the bum-kissing world of pageantry. And some people are getting up at it because one of the RAF camps that migrants are about to be housed in has the grave of the Dam Busters leader's dog in it. I'm not going to mention the dog's name because it's an unmentionable word these days. But anyway, the Dam Busters film was on the telly today. I didn't watch it, but there you are. It's a dog. That's what's important. It's the grave of a dog. the colonel, or the head honcho of the Dambusters, dog but a dog nonetheless. It's been dead for 70 years. It wasn't even a combat dog. It was just a pet. There are people starving all over the world, and this is the pointless crap that agitates us. Recent research suggests that those of us who are plagued by mosquitoes could have our soap to blame. I know. Excellent. I read this a month ago and I stopped using soap. Now I am followed round by not one mosquito. But there's a bloody queue of blue bottles a mile long with a very hungry look in each of their 5 eyes. And finally, Liz Truss. Yes, sir. Liz Truss is going to Taiwan. Hooray! She's coming back. Woo! I know. I don't know what she's going for. I've no idea. Maybe she wants a microchip. I've not, but she's going there. And it's a bit of a, isn't it, really? Who she thinks she is? She's just a 10-minute wonder. We all wondered how she got there. Nonetheless, she is a former Prime Minister, and on her return it is almost certain that she will have a Beatles moment at the airport with people hanging over the barriers, cheering from the concourse, saying, Liz, Liz, welcome home. That was the only song that really fit. And it was a big hit. A big hit? It was. It was quite a big hit anyway. I think it was a number 1 for a while. They were on top of the pops a lot. 0800 218. It was Peters and Lee, if you're wondering. I never found out which was which. One was a tall blonde person, and the other one was a pianist, so I don't know how tall he was. He sat down. Anyway, one of them was Peters, the other was Lee. Or litres and P, which would be worse. Or litres of P, that would be... litres of P. Sorry, I'm just getting carried away. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. We're here until 1, and we have no Radio Merseyside taking part this evening. But the number, as I say, 0800 218 2255. How do Ray?
Hi, Alan. I'd like to talk about do kids pick up good or bad traits from the parents? Now the reason why I talk about this is because I always say when parents are not good to their children or like very abusive towards the children, I always think that child will grow up to be like a bad person. I don't know if that's the case.
Well, I know the answer to that. It's yes and no. And there are all sorts of examples of children who were abused physically and mentally as children by their parents and grew up to be decent human beings. And the converse is the case. Not everybody in prison had a prisoner for a parent, if you follow my drift. So, yes and no. Certainly parenting has a massive effect on children, but what the outcome of that effect is, we don't know. My father never, when we were children or beyond, never laid a finger on us, never at any point chastised us physically or raised his voice with us or anything to that effect. But when he was a kid, his dad used to tie him to the bed and hit him with a belt, which wasn't unusual in that time, but he didn't turn into what you might call a physical disciplinarian parent. The exact opposite, indeed. So,
but I always say, Alan, is that if that child has been hit by his alcoholic dad, and you know what I mean. But I always say that child, he's never going to be a happy person. I think he's going to be really like an angry person. That's what I believe.
Well, feel free to believe it, but the evidence both supports you and contradicts you. As I say, there are children from what we'll describe, for want of a better expression, as terrible homes who turn out to be delightful people with brilliant kids. And there are kids that come from perfectly decent family homes, good family life, who turn out to be absolute monsters. So you can't predict the child by looking at the parents.
Yeah, I always say though, like if a child has not had good parenting and then he goes and turns to crime, and then, you know, I just think because he hasn't had that love from his dad or his mum. I think you know what I'm trying to say. It's like, but someone who's like from a good family and they go and turn to crime, I don't understand.
Well, anyone that claims to understand human beings is telling you porkies, because no one understands human beings, no one at all. You cannot predict the outcome of parenting. It is a safe bet, but not a guaranteed one, that a safe and secure family home will produce secure adults, but it isn't guaranteed. As I say, everybody in prison didn't have a criminal for a parent.
He didn't. That's the thing. It's because, yeah, even like you said, like even when they've had good parents and they've turned out bad, but some people might go, well, what went wrong for that person? That's what the question is that they're asking.
Well, it is a contributory factor. The parenting, without a doubt, leaves a mark on the children. But how the children deal with that mark is, I mean, that's a simplification of the language, but how the children deal with that mark is not predictable. You can't say, bad parents, therefore bad kid. It is the case that you get, you even get twins from the same family, the same upbringing, that turn into, one's a horrible person and one's a decent person. There's no way of knowing. It isn't inevitable that a child will duplicate his or her childhood with his or her children. It's not inevitable.
Yeah, that's what they always say. I don't know, when people say, they pick up that trait, it's going to happen, but I think this is where some human beings look at it and go, well, if this child's been hit, that means he's going to grow up to be the bad guy, and then when they've had good parents, they're going to grow up to be a good person. I don't think that is black and white how you'd say it.
Well, it most certainly isn't that clear cut, without a doubt. But as I think we're agreeing, the parenting does have an effect on the child. What that effect is and how the child, as a grown-up, accommodates that effect remains to be seen.
I mean, I can say one thing though. Only a psychologist can probably know this better than probably me. Probably know better.
They certainly have the academic skills and the negotiation skills to not. I mean, again, a psychologist isn't able to look at a family and say, those parents are awful, that kid will be awful. What a psychologist might do is say that child is awful, and a lot of the reasoning for that awfulness is the background they've had, the family they've had, etc. So it's retrospective rather than futuristic.
That's the thing. I always say, if you've got strict parents, I don't know whether that child, like people might say, if the child's got strict parents, I don't know whether he'll grow up to be strict or whether he'll grow up to be different.
Well, exactly. None of us know. Good on you. Good to talk to you, Ray. How do Jimmy?
Alan, I've spoken to you before.
Okay.
When did you become qualified to be a doctor?
Never.
Because when you spoke to me before, you gave me some rubbish advice.
And did you take it?
Severely disabled. Let me finish, please.
Did you take the advice?
Let me finish.
No,
Let me
ta-da.
finish.
No, ta-da. You whined about it before. You've had your wine. Now go. How do Shafiq?
I'm okay, my dear friend Allan. I like to talk about the English language. Why is a Republican word? Why is a king word? Why is a duke word? Why? Because Republican means parliament. We all parliament people in this we live in. It is our country. We keep our country. Why we need king? We need who is keep our country? Who have a horse? Who have a soldier? Who have a money? Duke have a money. Princess have a money. King have a money more than us. We Republican. We receive money from government. Government mean we. Parliament mean we. Parliament who live in the Great Britain. It is our power. Example, Iraq war. Tony Blair was prime minister. If any sin, Allah give him punishment. God, not me. All sin going to up to him, the Tony Blair, not for us. Who soldiers in the Iraq war? They're going all heaven. Not Tony Blair. If Tony Blair is a true, he fight for us, he going heaven also. If Saddam true, Saddam going heaven. Saddam wrong, Saddam going hell. We Republican happy, man. We not king. King have a soldier, everything. King by the God, by the religion. Another one I talk about the Bible. You can't destroy any word from Bible. You can destroy Jesus Christ from Bible? No. You can destroy Mother Mary word from Bible? No. So why are you fighting? You Republican, you say you have a soldier, I come to you with my soldiers. Then fight. English people fight 1,000 years. They get kingdom. They get powerful themselves. They have a slave all over the world. Thank you.
It's all right. How do Ted?
Oh, it's all good. Do you know what ESP means, Alan?
Extrasensory perception.
Yeah, well, one day I was in my bedroom with my brother. We were asleep, and I stepped out of my body, and I was standing on the shed. I looked around and I went, "Wow, look at this! I can see. I can see around everywhere around here." And then I put my hands up in the air. And then I took off and I was looking down from up the area that I lived in. I was looking down at it. And you know the thing about it, Alan? I had long hair and I could feel the wind blowing against me as I was going around in the circle. And another thing, Alan, you were a psychiatric nurse, weren't you?
Yeah.
Well, I got sections. I won't say which hospital it was, but it was a good hospital. They did care of it. But anyway, they kept their. They shouldn't have done this. I don't think like that. Anyway, but they kept their a psychiatric department on the top floor, and two lads jumped out the window before I got there. Now they welded the windows down so you couldn't open them. And outside, the rainbow came, and I could have put my hand outside the window, and the colours would have been on my hand. I said to the CPN, the psychiatric nurse, I said, can I go out and go under the rainbow? She said, you can't see sections. So what do you think about that? I said I was coming back.
I wasn't thinking about it at all.
Don't you think she'd have let me go under the rainbow? And I would have come back.
Well, I don't know the terms of your section or the conditions of the unit, but if a person is required to be supervised 24 hours a day, then they can't let you go wandering off looking at rainbows.
Well, they built on the rainbow where the hospital was. They built an ambulance station there. And on the other side, where the rainbow ended, they built a housing estate.
Right.
Amazing, like, isn't it?
Well, no, not really. There are pots of gold at the end of the rainbow. The reason they say things like that is because as you approach the rainbow moves.
Well, you know what a rainbow around the sun means?
I don't
I've
think you
seen
get.
that,
I don't think you get a rainbow around the sun. I've heard of a corona around the sun. I've never heard of a rainbow. The rain wouldn't survive near the sun, really.
Honest to God, Alan, I did see this one day. I was looking out the window and I seen a rainbow around the sun.
Well, if you see it again, try to take a photograph.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. That's what I should have done.
You should have done, yes, and then you could have shown it to me, and I would have thought, oh, that's believable. Do
Yeah,
have
it
a
was
good night.
amazing.
I'm glad to hear it. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. Pick up your phone, have your say, and rainbow or not. Hello, Zippy. That's rainbow, isn't it? I don't know whether that's the right voice. In fact, I'm now convincing myself that it wasn't. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. I'd love to hear from you tonight, but I'll have to make do with seeing you, which I can't. But the song 255. This is the Allan Beswick Late Night Phone In. If you wish to join us, you can. It's just pick up the phone and have your say. And it's just two stations tonight. We're normally on BBC Radio Lancashire and BBC Radio Merseyside and BBC Radio Manchester. But Merseyside tonight are having fun with the Eurovision Song Contest, which the hour I watched just before coming up to my office to talk with you was musically, for my tastes, musically challenging, but production-wise, absolutely spectacular. I mean, just amazing. Lights all over the place. The performance, amazing. The music, not so much. But that's just me. 0800 218 2255. I'll do Michelle.
Hello there, Alan. Peters and me, who you played at the beginning. Peters was the bloke, Lee was the woman. It was Lenny Peters,
Right.
and I think it's Diane Lee.
Okay.
I just wanted to say. I was a big
Thank
fan
you.
of Peters and Lee.
Were you? Good heavens.
Yeah. I know, sad. But, the guy that came on, I think it was Ray. He was on about how people end up being by their parents because of the parents. My parents were horrific, and I've turned out to be an okay kid to an adult.
Says you.
The way, pardon?
Says you.
You cheeky Arab.
We have no way of judging. I could say I'm a good radio presenter, but it's easy enough.
But there again, I could beg
Go
to
on,
differ
sorry.
there.
Well, exactly. Anyway, go on. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, but my parents were really bad, and in mentally and physically, because they were send us to school without food, come home at dinner, no food, come home at night, no food, straight to bed, whilst they were eating and stuff like that. And food was always locked up and counted and measured. But they were strict. We had 10 minutes to walk home from school, but we used to get bullied from the kids in the estate, so we used to be late and we'd get a slipper or a belt or whatever for whatever reason, and a load of other things. Anyway, I turned out to be different, and I thought my kids will never go without food, and my kids will never have a hand across their bodies, anything, and I never did lay a hand on any of my kids. And they always had their food on the table, so go on.
No, absolutely. I mean, you said your parents were very careful with food, as it were, but mine, well, my mum was in charge of food. My father worked all the time.
Oh, no, they weren't careful with food. We just weren't allowed it.
Oh, right.
They would have a roast dinner or something when we were upstairs not having any food.
Oh, crikey.
There was a lady in the estate who used to do leaflets, and the leaflets on it used to have 5p off, 10p off. And we knew a girl that worked at the shop at the time, and she used to change them for food for us, the vouchers, so we could have something to eat. So, and a lady in the neighbourhood who I used to go around to her house in the morning to get her daughter to go to school, she'd say, "Have you eaten today?" I said, "No." She'd sit down, and she used to give me food occasionally. But I always said my kids would never suffer that way, and they didn't. and I've never laid a hand on them. But
Wow. I mean,
I think I've grown up to be a
that's
level-headed
extraordinary.
person.
I mean, we didn't have much money, and I know now as an adult. Well, I must have been 30 odd before I found out. But we kids, we were all properly fed and properly looked after, despite the fact they had no money. But my mother would often go without food so that we could.
No, other way around.
Just wow. But you've turned out fine.
I have indeed.
Congratulations. What about your siblings? Have they also? I mean, it's none of my business, and it's not. We don't know who they are because we don't know who you are. But how have your siblings turned out?
They're okay because they didn't go through the same thing.
Right.
It was different time.
Right. Well, Michelle, thank you. Thank you very much. Good to hear from you. 0800 218 2255. The Jesuits used to say, give me the child at the age of 5. Give me the boy, because they were kind of gendered in the early days, in those days. But they used to say, give me the boy at the age of 5. I think it was 7. Give me the boy at the age of 7 and I will give you the man, which speaks to the way a child is the consequence of their upbringing, which is true. But whether it is a replication of their upbringing, clearly not. How do Joseph?
Hello, Alan. I want to talk about I think he's an ex-Marine that's preparing to climb Everest. Unfortunately, he hasn't got any legs, and I just thought, seems like he's going to put his crew in danger, because obviously he hasn't got any legs to climb up, so I don't know how the heck he's going to get up there, which has already climbed some Scottish mountains, which is nothing compared with Everest. So it just seems to be making a mockery of the ascent of Everest. So these people that's really good climbers that's died up there, because it's obvious he's not going to climb it. It's going to be 90% carried, probably.
Well, I don't know. There are certainly, from what I've seen, and I'm not talking about drama films, but what I've seen of, serious climbing films. The ascent of Everest isn't a climb in the sense of your cramponing and all that caper like a rock climber. Much of it is just traversing ground, and he obviously has the ability of some sort to do that, and yes, he's going to need a lot of assistance, but it doesn't make a mockery of it, does it?
I think it makes a mockery of the people that have already done it. They probably in local pub at night saying, oh yeah, I've conquered Everest, and they say, oh well, the chap with no legs did the other week.
Well, I'm not sure that anyone who has climbed Everest will feel. Well, the best thing I can say is I watched something last week, which was about. Do you remember those rock cave persons that got stuck? One lad got stuck after a rock fall under the Brecon Beacons.
Yeah.
And it took them days to get him out. Now, the people that got him out were cavers. And one of them said, cavers rescue cavers because there's nobody else to do it.
Yeah.
And there is this camaraderie of people who are cavers. And I believe it's the same in rock climbing and in mountaineering. So whilst, yes, he's going to possibly need more help than most, nobody climbs Everest without an awful lot of help. So he's just going to have a different kind of help. And I suspect that the people assisting him will be overjoyed to do so. And other climbers, they won't say, that's cheapened it. They'll say, wow.
Well, how will he possibly climb it with no legs. Like, I know it's going to be sort of. You have these devices on ropes that you can move along with and all the rest, but I think you've got to.
How does he? I mean,
it's a team effect, isn't it? So he's not going to be part of the team, surely.
Well, yes, he is. He's going to have his contribution to the team.
In what way?
I don't know. I'm not a rock climber or a mountaineer, but he's not just going to be in a sedan chair and they carry him up. It's going to be physically demanding on him. Climatically, it's going to be physically demanding, but he's also going to have to do an awful lot of work, if you like.
Brian Blessing had a few attempts and could never do it. He was quite determined. So,
but the thing that gets most people, I'm led to believe, and this is the same of a lot of climbing, is the fatigue of the time it takes, but also the lack of. If they do it with oxygen, that's considered less of an achievement, still an incredible achievement, but less of an achievement than if they do it without, because the altitude sickness can do for the most physically fit and strongest of people.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's a hell of an achievement. Whether he succeeds or not, just the attempt to get past, what is it called, base camp, is just something. You know, most of it is a trek, and he presumably has some process by which he can traverse across the ground. I mean, at the risk of trivialising it, he does lots of things without the help of others. I mean, how does he get on a bus? How does he get in a motor car? How does he get up a flight of stairs? He must have a process by which he does it.
It's all I'm thinking is like that he's putting the team at risk, and I can't see any. It's a team effort. I can't see how he can be of any really of any use to the team. And he's a brave chap having a go and all the rest of it. But I think something else should be where other people's lives weren't jeopardised.
But every Everest climb puts other people's lives at risk apart from just yours. All the members of the team are at risk of death, and most of the members of the team in Everest summit climbs, most of the members of the team know that they will not be reaching the summit. They are just there to help the final climb to happen. Most of them know it will not be. They don't take turns going up to the peak. In fact, they can't these days. There's a queue. But they don't all go to the summit. The team climbs. You know, Sir Edmund Hillary didn't just go up there with Sherpa Tenzing. There were dozens of them, probably more. But only 2 of them went to the peak.
Yeah.
So it's always lots of people putting themselves at risk to assist somebody to get to the top.
Well, yeah, okay, then I just thought it were a bit irresponsible, to be honest.
Well, I suppose every climb, given the risks of death and serious injury, every climb up Everest is a hell of a risk for everybody involved. There was a thing the other week. Now, if you'd have said this, I might have agreed with you. There was a thing the other week when somebody who died on the summit, because they often just leave them there, because the risk of carrying them down is enormous. And there's somebody, a famous climber, I'm not into climbing, so I don't know the person's name, regrettably, but a famous climber who died on Everest. And there were people getting to get. I mean, he's been up there a long time, but they don't go off because it's cold, you know. But there was somebody getting a team together to bring his body back, and I thought, no, he's dead. What are you going to do with it when you get it back here? Put it underground or set fire to it? Them's are the options. Leave it there. And I remember reading about somebody, and I think it was a woman, actually, but it doesn't matter, whatever the gender. And they said, what you don't realise when you're climbing Everest is you walk past corpses of people who never made it. Extraordinary. Why do they do it, Joseph?
Well,
why do they do it?
Best of luck to it.
Well, best of luck to all of them, but why does anybody do it? Because they're balmy. That's why. Good on you, mate.
Okay.
Good to talk to you. But yeah, the Marine that's going to climb, it is. I mean, of course, he needs a lot of help. But as I say, the team doesn't all get to the top. I mean, if you're a climber and you're listening right now in your tent or whatever, even if you're top of Everest, give us a call. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, that's good. I'll do Neil.
Well, bonjour, comment s'appelles-tu?
I have no idea.
All right, no, I mean, this is about the, the comment s'appelles-tu is what's your name? So I know it's Alan anyway. I've known about the Eurovision then.
Pardon?
Okay, so I've just, Eurovision Song Contest.
Okay, yeah.
It's on tonight, yeah. I mean, we've got my great sympathies because you can't watch it tonight live because you're working, so my big sympathies.
I have to say, if I wasn't working, I wouldn't be watching.
I know, yes, it's target show, yes. So let's see. I've just watched all the. I'm not big, but I watched all of the 26 acts. It's just finished now. The acts. I mean, the voting's still got to come yet. So, and I was thinking, out of the 26, I think there's Israel or the UK.
Oh.
That's up there, I think. You know, I'm not an expert on that, but I mean, but the point is, they had no chance of winning. Israel because Israel or UK, because Israel because of the war and all that, and then the UK because of Brexit. So I'm just thinking what you think about the politics behind the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well, there are certainly an awful lot of politics involved, but that's the case always. People never vote purely in anything. They just don't. Human beings are fickle, and they will vote according to all the things that they're thinking about it, rather than... I mean, I'd have trouble voting for a nation, whatever competition it was. If I was watching a rugby game and there was a nation whose behaviour I didn't approve of, even if they were playing a team I didn't like, I wouldn't be supporting them. I mean, isn't that the case for us all? There is no...
Well, it should be really, yeah.
There is no pure voting system, is there?
No. I mean, we said, but the song contest, whatever it is, it might be X Factor, or it might be whatever it is. It's got to be the Eurovision. It's got to be the best song or the best performance on the night. But it's, I mean, it's not sometimes, Well, isn't
that? I mean, isn't that, frankly, a bit of a naive view to think that?
Go on, yeah.
Well, just in the case of, do you think it has ever been in Eurovision just a straightforward musical competition? I mean, if it was a competition about the song, then perhaps they should stand still, all wear the same clothes, all have the same set, and just stand there and sing, because we're testing the song. But we're not. We're testing...
Or don't have on screen, just listen to the song, yeah.
And just listen to the song, and then it'd be certainly a lot less palaver. But it's not that, is it? It's a massive sensational, isn't it? So it's about about the fun or the lack of fun or the anger, the misery. Yeah. I mean, do you really think? Perhaps this is sacrilege.
No, I don't. I'm just giving you devil's advocate.
Well, that's all right. But does anybody think that Ukraine's song last year was the best?
Far from it. Sam Ryder's was the best, but that's why Liverpool's hosting it now.
Well, indeed, but perhaps Liverpool would have been hosting it if they hadn't have voted, if everybody hadn't have voted
if Sam Ryder would have won, but it was Ukraine the sympathy vote. I totally agree. Can I just, Alan, sorry about that, can I just one Eurovision joke, if I may, coming on. How much free space does Europe have now?
How much? I don't know.
Europe, just the one. 1 gigabyte could be gigabyte or Great Britain. Only the 1 gigabyte less. Thank you. Bye bye.
Well, I was expecting a joke then. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, feel free. And Eurovision, come on. And the idea that Brexit counted against us in Eurovision implies that Eurovision's European. Well, it's not. Australia is quite a long way from Europe, and they're involved. And I don't actually think that Israel's in Europe either, and they're involved. So, Russia was involved, and they very definitely aren't in Europe. So it's not the Eurovision Song Contest. It's not a European one. It's a song contest for people who sometimes watch European telly. I talked myself into a corner I couldn't get out of there. I'll do half it.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good, hi, sir. A couple of questions. The main one I've listened to on the news, heard on the news, is our Labour Party has promised to build at least 10,000 council homes over the next 4 years. But nobody seems to come up with an answer to the question, how many are those going to be bungalows for OAPs, pensioners, and possibly disabled people? What do you think about that?
I don't know how many. I suspect they haven't even got to that stage yet. What they're saying at the moment is we will build council houses, social housing, if you like, if that's what they've said.
It's very, very, very short of bungalows. That is a long time since people think bungalows were built for pensioners.
Well, believe it or not, bungalows are all the rage now. The young people are wanting them. I'm not really sure why. But
millions want them, but none of them are vacant.
But as I say, even young people want them now.
And if any other listeners can shed a question on, does anybody know where any shops that do sell a soap, a wash soap? It's called the Shield.
Oh, do they still make it?
I'm not sure about that.
No.
I
think it was a Lever's product. I don't know whether they still make it. Not sure. They made it for ages. Yeah. Oh my word. You can get it from various shops. I'm not going to name them. That would be naughty. But yeah, you can get it on.
I need to know.
Well, indeed, but I'm not going to tell you. You can get it on the internet. You can't. On the internet, they tend not to sell one bar at a time, as it were. But there are a few shops listed here that stock it.
If I was to say Boots or Debenhams or Kendall's, would any of those to the
Well, I wouldn't respond, so you could say a whole load more if you wanted. I still wouldn't respond. But there are places that sell it. It is still available. That's the main thing. We've got that sorted. It is available.
Okay, I'll hunt around.
Right.
Okay.
Hunt around. It's my pleasure. 0800 218 2255. Shield soap was that strange green colour that had sort of white squiggly lines going through it, and it smelt a bit antiseptic, which is not bad. I'd buy Dettol soap. Do they make Dettol soap? I'd buy Dettol soap. I use a lot of Dettol. I put Dettol in the bath on the rare occasions I have a bath. You can't do it with the shower, can you? It's not the same. Anyway, I swear by Dettol. 0800, get it on the wrong place and you swear at Dettol. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. Pick up your phone, have your say, talk about anything. Just two of us tonight. By that I mean just BBC Radio Lancashire and BBC Radio Manchester, because BBC Radio Merseyside are going absolutely crazy about Eurovision, and who can blame them? Here's the and assured President Zelensky of Ukraine that he was praying for peace. He didn't say what effect that's had, but the evidence seems to be that God isn't listening, not even to the Pope. Extraordinary. He thought he'd have given it a little listen, but no, apparently not. As we've just been told by somebody, the Eurovision singing, or at least the competitive singing, is now over. There will, of course, be the singing of the winners, whoever that or they might be. Yeah. I have no idea how many points we shall get, whether it be nil point or all des points. All des points is not point you get at a low-cost supermarket, by the way. It is a very lazy way of saying all of the points. Point being points. And what do points mean? Never mind. 0800 218 2255. The Trans-Pennine Railway Company is going to be taken over by the government after the privatised service was deemed to be failing. How novel. You must remember how years ago we griped about British Rail, didn't we? We said the trains were awful, the sandwiches were stale, the coffee was atrocious. But they seemed to get you there, didn't they, really? Yes, you sat down on the seat and a puff of dust came up, and they were noisy, you know, click, 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 click. Although I used to fall off to sleep to that, so that was quite nice. But they were noisy, they were messy, especially in the steam train days in my day as a young person. There used to be at Crewe Station, and now bear in mind, British Rail had an awful lot of coal because the trains were run by it. But Crewe Station used to be a big terminus station, as it were, a big transition station. You get off the train there to go to X or Y or Z or whatever. And it was massive. And they used to have a dirty, great big all-night waiting room with an enormous roaring coal fire. My God, the number of times coming home on leave I've slept in Crewe waiting room, sweating like a pig. Oh my word, because it was so warm. 0800 218 2255. You want to join us? That's fine. Pick up the phone and have your say. And I've just been told that somebody used an expression which is not one, I didn't notice it, and I apologise for that, not one that we would allow normally to be used. So if you heard that expression and were offended by it, then I should have spotted it and should have said something about it. I didn't spot it, my apologies for that. We won't allow it to happen again. I don't know why I didn't spot it. There you are. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. Pick up your phone and have your say. If you're wondering what comment it was, I'm not going to repeat it for obvious reasons. That would just be compounding the felony, as it were. 0800 218 2255. Pick up your phone and have your say. And Barb, do you remember Barbara Castle? I interviewed Barbara Castle. In fact, it was this sounds flash. I had dinner with her. Had dinner with her because that was the nature of the beast. It was dinner with a celebrity, and Barbara Castle was a celebrity. And I asked her, because Barbara Castle introduced the breathalyzer test back in the 60s, I think it was. And my God, she had to weather a storm of abuse. Had we been in the days of the internet, there would have been hell on earth. My word, the internet would have been alight with complaints when she introduced it. But it was extraordinary, because the reality is that because of the introduction of the breathalyzer and the then inevitable consequential reduction in the number of drunk drivers, if you like, Barbara Castle managed to save thousands of lives over time. Thousands upon thousands of lives. But, people are rarely heroes in their own time. I mention it because they've got another test now, a test for sleepy drivers. Falling asleep at the wheel is, very, very dangerous indeed. But being dozy, I don't mean in a daft sense, I mean dozing at the wheel, when you're driving along, driving like this is crazy, but you're driving along, you think, I better open the windows, I'm feeling a bit sleepy. You don't open the window, you stop. If you're on the motorway, you open the window and you get off the motorway at the next exit and you stop. But they've now got a test, it's a blood test, and whether it'll be introduced or not, we don't know universally, but it's a bit like it. Sleepy drivers are in the firing line with a blood test for tiredness. Tiredness, like all those motorway signs say. Tiredness kills. Take a break. I mean, my sat-nav, it's weird. Driving along, and if I've gone a long way, without stopping, as it were. I mean, stopping for traffic lights and things like that. But if I'm going down to the south coast or London or whatever, I go a long way. My sat nav says, "Would you like a coffee?" As if it's going to make me one. I'm on my sat nav. A little cup of steaming coffee. In fact, it's not on my sat nav. It's on my dashboard. A little cup of steaming coffee appears. Would you like a coffee? Take a break. Well, now they're getting a test for tiredness. And frankly, I think they should find a way of introducing a new test, a test to stop the biggest killer on our roads, and that is the utter selfish stupidity that lurks at every turn. Yeah, that's what we want. A test for driving stupidity. I'm not saying people who drive badly are stupid, but there are some people who just drive stupidly. They do. You see them. I was going down the A55 today on my way back home, just driving along, minding my own business. I set my speed control on the A55 at 50 mile an hour. I don't go much faster. I've got nowhere to rush to, so I take my time. A car went past me and overtook various other of the cars that had overtaken me, leaving them standing. And he went past. He must have been doing 90 plus. He must have been. I thought, where the hell is he going? How late have you got to be to drive like that? And as my driving instructor years ago used to say, better to be late in this world than early in the next. Utterly stupid. If we had a test for stupidity in drivers, I'd vote for it. 0800 218 2255. Kids in America, what are they? It's a fascinating place, isn't it, America? I mean, it's huge for a start, so there's nothing you can say about America that is universal. It is absolutely enormous. And there are people in America living extraordinarily wealthy lives. There are houses. There's a place, I forgot what it's called, but it's where all the film stars live. And you drive along the road, not Bel Air, this is on the coast. And you drive, I think it's Santa Monica, Santa Barbara perhaps, doesn't matter. You drive along and you just see what, from where you're looking as you drive along this road, they're just ordinary looking houses, as it were. They're detached, but there's nothing spectacular about them. But if you're on the other side, on the beach side, and you look, they are ridiculously spectacular. Absolutely. And they're worth millions and millions. And just crazy money. And they're second homes, They're the holiday home, the weekend home of the rich and wealthy. And then there are other parts of America, the inner cities for a start, and also in the sort of hinterland of the United States, when people are dirt poor. I mean, hand-to-mouth poor, not even that. And it's just an extraordinary... I know we've got, the proximity of wealth and poor in this country, but poverty in America is extraordinary. One of the, possibly still the richest country in the world, but definitely one of them. And yet there are people who scrat around for food, going in bins at restaurants for food. What? How can that happen in a country that's that wealthy? But it does. It does. They don't have a welfare system to match anything we've got, and we whine about ours all the time. But times, anyway, they're just oh, God, awful in many, many ways. And yet, an extraordinarily beautiful country. Oh, man. We drove down the west coast of America, Highway 1, I think it's called. And the views are amazing, absolutely amazing. And when you meet Americans, I don't mean everyone, and certainly not in New York, but when you meet Americans, they have a different kind of courtesy than we do, and it sounds really welcoming. And they call you sir, which I have difficulty with, but they do, and you just think, what? It's just a different kind. It's a different country altogether. What was it Oscar Wilde said? Two nations separated by a common language. 0800 218 2255. Unless, of course, like everybody else on the planet, you're watching. Well, not all over the planet, but watching for the results. Yes, to find out what's going on. I don't think the voting. The voting is now closed, but we don't yet know the results in Eurovision. Yeah, we do know that England won't win because that's how the world works. We just don't know why. Perhaps it's because they just don't like us. Anyway, I'll try and let you know who wins, assuming you care. 0800 218 2255. If you don't care, that's fine. I'll do Glenn.
Hello, I'm Ian Barrett.
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm going on holiday, Alan. Guess where?
I surrender, I don't know.
I'm going on a caravan site. I'm allowed to name it caravan site near Blackpool.
I'd prefer you didn't.
I won't. I'm going on a caravan site in Blackpool. And it's meant to be sunny every day next week. And I've been a lot of these caravan sites, like every caravan for years. And they're a lot cheaper hotels than. And these caravans, they're really nice. Have you stayed in one on there, having that?
You've just named the site. I thought you weren't going to. I've stayed in a caravan on the East Coast some 10 years ago, and yeah, it was nice. I mean, it was on a site, but it was winter, so the site was closed. There was none of that smell of chips and fairground rides going. But yes, it was very nice. It was privately owned. I mean, I didn't know the owner, but it was privately owned. It was very nice.
So you're on these sites, there's a supermarket, there's a chip shop, there's Burger King, there's entertainment, a bar, and it's like, when you get there, I mean, you sit well, and you have your own caravan self-catering, and they're really enjoyable,
Yeah,
we're only going Monday, Friday, but it's an holiday, isn't it? And it's a lot cheaper than a hotel in Blackpool.
Well, very definitely, caravans are cheaper than hotels, but then they don't have the facilities that hotels have, and hotels tend not to get blown over in the wind, as it were. As I say, we stayed in one in winter, and, you know, it was warm, but it moved a lot when it was windy, which hotels tend not to. So you could feel the caravan moving. I mean, it was fixed. It wasn't a caravan you tow.
This chain, I'm not saying it. I think they closed it winter.
Right. Well, it wasn't one of them then, was it? But it was. It must have been. It was probably late October, early November that we went, and we were walking. We were doing some walking in Norfolk, and because we didn't like hills. And it was great. Absolutely brilliant.
Another thing, Alan, I'm seeing the DWP in Blackpool in about a week.
Right.
You know, around the age of 28 years, I've tried the pit 3 times. I'm going to see him again for the float, just even get it back. But I don't think they're casting all the chance on us. If you work at supermarket, it all goes against it. And I can't tell lies. You know, it's like as you know, I lost £500 a month bet 4 years ago. I lost my working tax anyway. I'm still okay, right? But the thing is, in the future, say, and if I could get the away, it could stop me being homeless, couldn't I?
Well, we could all end up homeless, of that there is no doubt, all of us, no matter how much we're paid or what life we have, but it seems less likely then you keep thinking.
You know, I spoke to you many times about years about being homeless, and it's not a nice situation. Me dad's in the club now, having a part of me, and he's 78 years old. My mum's got dementia. He's not going to be there forever, honestly.
Well, none of us are, so no, he's not going to be there forever.
And it is. I'm going over with my parents in June as well to Preston in North Wales caravan site for a week, and my mum's got dementia, and it's like I can't think about what it's like without the parents on, because I rely on them. The only record on Stubborn Street, and I can't come to terms if anything happens, and when it happens, there's not a lot I can do.
Well, no, there is nothing you can do. We all, almost all, at some point in our lives, have to deal with the death of somebody close to us, and it's never easy.
Nobody knows when they're going to die. No. You can drop dead at 50 kilos, 100, you don't know, do you?
You don't know.
It's like it, and it's a very... I'm very frightened of the future, I really am. And you're not good there forever, and John Gilmore. And it is a very frightening future. I'm not over.
Well, there's nothing we can do. I mean, nothing is there forever. This programme won't be there forever, and other programmes were not going to be there forever. They're just not. But we things change, and we move on, and we get by, and you will too. You'll manage somehow. You've managed this far.
I hope so.
Yeah, you've managed this far.
Well, I'm 50 now, and I think I was doing 100.
Well, aim for that. Aim for Monday. You'll be fine. Have a good night, Glenn, and have a good week in Blackpool. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. It's dead easy. Pick up your phone, have your say, talk about anything. We really don't mind. And yet another new idea squirts its way out of the government. They're going to give GPs £250 million. Yep, 250,000, so they can replace their phone systems with one of those god-awful packages that said, "Your call is important to us. You are 96 in the queue." How long will it be before there's just one GP sat in an office, probably down south somewhere, waiting for the phone to ring so that he or she can pretend they can cure you over the phone? Maybe not. 0800 218 2255 is to change their name from Tyrannosaurus Rex. And part of the reason was that getting to read their name on a record label. You remember the old 45s? And they used to write their name, didn't they, around the edge, and trying to read Tyrannosaurus Rex in a half second, murder. So they changed it to T-Rex, which made an awful lot of sense. How do Andrew?
Oh, hello, Alan. It's just a quick question, really. Are these your last two shows this weekend?
Say that again, sorry?
These tonight and tomorrow's programmes, are they your last ones?
No.
All right.
They're not. We were scheduled to finish at the end of May. We're now going on. I mean, I'm away for most of June anyway, on holiday. But I'll be back on the first weekend in July, and then we'll be carrying on right through till the end of August at the earliest. It may go on after that, we don't know.
Right. There should be a petition, to keep it going.
Well,
I don't know how you do that, but
neither do I.
It's a show on radio for me.
Well, I mean, everybody thinks that their favourite programme is the best on radio, and an awful lot of programmes are going to disappear. And the BBC has got to change. It can never stay the same. It just can't. If it stayed the same, we'd have our newsreaders still sat in dinner suits saying, "Oh, this is the BBC and it's Al Holladale reading it." We have to change, and the BBC has to change as well. And all media's changing now. In 10 years' time, there won't be radio that you and I would recognise as radio. It just won't exist.
Yeah.
Where you have this little box in the corner and you turn it on and you go, and you find the station you want and it works. That's going to be gone. They won't be doing radio coming down in radio signals. It's going to be the internet, and that's where the BBC is slowly moving everything, and not just the BBC, all the others are as well. But look at Sky. Sky are moving away from satellite. They're having that down
Sky
here.
Glass, isn't it?
Sky Glass, yeah, and it doesn't look to me like it's what I want. So I'll stick with the. Thank you very much. I'll stick with the satellite, but you can now get Sky down the internet, and great. But the problem I have is the internet is not yet as reliable as we would like it to be. And if you lose your signal, you lose the programme, you sat there looking at a blank screen. So, but it's all changing, it's all going to the internet, and way it might. It's like when they got rid of 405 lines and replaced it with 625. Who knew? And then there were people who had tellies that after a while just didn't work anymore. They turned the 405 transmitters off, and it's all part of that process of change. And as I say, in 10 years' time, I would be surprised if radio stations still had transmitters, up on the hill somewhere going. They won't have them. There won't be any point. So
when I was a kid, I did like listening to James H. Reeve.
Good old James.
Very, very funny man.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to him, but
he's not on the radio anymore. I don't know.
He 103 years ago.
Yeah, he was on Key 103. It was really funny. I used to do a late night phone-in on Red Rose Radio, and prior to that, they'd had James Stanage on Piccadilly, and he got in all kinds of trouble all the time because there's a line in radio, and if you cross that line frequently, you're gone. And I never heard James, so I've no way of knowing, but I think he crossed the line far too often, and you have to know where the line is. You have to, and I was doing it on Red Rose Radio, and crossing the line occasionally. I had my moments, I guess. And Piccadilly decided they were going to have another go, but rather than go back to Stanage, they got James H. Reeve.
They did, yeah. I remember listening to it. Yeah.
Well, the month before he went on air, he came out to Red Rose because we owned them. Red Rose owned them both by that time, and he came out to Red Rose to see, not to see how I did it, but to see the mechanics of it. Because there's it's not like a music show where you sit there talking into a microphone and putting records on. You've got telephone calls coming at you all over the place, and it was just that kind, to see the mechanics of it. So I got to know him then, and then we ended up working together at BBC Radio Manchester, and he moved on again because he does that, and now James H is out of radio altogether.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Well, yeah, but it's one. It can burn you up, this business. It's weird, but it can. I mean, it's not like it's hard work. It's not like going down the pit or something, but it can take its toll on you.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
Go on. James had one thing in common with me, and that was he didn't ever think, this is a forever job. You get a year's contract, you work the year. If you get another, you've done all right. And so...
Yeah, I remember when I was a nipper, about 1987, I would have been 11. I used to listen to him then. And I was aware you were on Red Rose, but I never listened, sorry.
Don't blame you.
I did used to hear people say you used to go a bit crazy at times.
Well, we had our moments.
Oh, well, happy days.
Yeah, I'm happy still. I can't speak for you, but I'm still happy.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
That's all right. Good to talk to you, Andrew. Have a good night, mate. But no, it's not the last pair of programmes. We're here next week, and I think we're here the week after, aren't we? I can't remember. I'll have a look. It's probably as well to tell you, as if you care. Someone will be sat in the chair. Someone will be doing this. So yes, so I'll be broadcasting when? Oh yeah, the 27th and the 28th. I'll be doing the 3rd and 4th of June. I'll be doing, and then I'm off after that. I think maybe more. Can't remember. Oh yeah, no, 3rd and 4th of June, and then I'm away on holiday, and then I'll be back in July, which actually will be the 1st of July. So I'll do 2, 4, 6 more programmes, 7 including tomorrow night, so 3 more weekends, 4 including this one, and then away. But I will be back at the end of June to do the programme on the 1st of July, and then we'll carry on through until the BBC does the changes it's going to do with BBC Local Radio, and we'll be there until then. After that, the current plan, nobody knows whether the plans come to fruition in their entirety, but the current plan is for BBC Local Radio to have a late night programme that is on all of the BBC Local Radio stations at once, a simulcast on the 40 stations, well I think it's 39, but the 40 stations, and that will be 5 nights a week somebody, and then the weekend nights will be somebody else, and that somebody else almost certainly won't be me, because at my age I'm not going to start doing a new programme at 74 years of age. I mean, how long am I going to be doing it for God's sake? So no, I don't fancy doing network anyway, too many producers. 0800, he's hard enough, we're one. 0800 218 225. I'll do Arnold.
Oh yeah, Alan. How are you doing? Are you feeling well, or
I'm feeling. I don't have any aches or pains, and I'm feeling fine, thank you.
Headache?
No pain at all. No pain at all.
Your joints all right? Ankles, wrists, and that.
Well, they seem to. They bend in the directions I wish them to bend, and they don't let me down at all. So I think I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, what sport did you do? Did you say you did rugby?
I did rugby. Yeah, I was a rugby player.
Yeah. Cricket. Oh,
no, rugby.
Chelsea. Nottingham Forest drew 2-2 at Chelsea there. Alan. The mark saying up. Nottingham Forest. Who was Brian Clough had him?
I remember Brian Clough at Nottingham Forest, yes, because he was very loud, was he not?
Yeah, he won the old first thing. He would have. Remember him? Ipswich, Paul Maurer and Mark Watt. Oh,
I'm afraid.
Remember him? Osvaldo Ardiles, a double signing for Tottenham from Argentina. Osvaldo Ardiles, he signed for Brighton. He did one of the most amazing goals I've ever seen down that Goldstone ground.
The only reason I'm aware of Ozzy Ardiles is he played in the cup final, if my memory serves me correctly, played in the cup final when the UK was at war with Argentina.
All right, yeah. Was that the Belgrano was sung? Was that an Argentinian ship? The Belgrano.
It was.
Yeah. So, what did that war actually? How long did it go on for? I mean, Port Stanley, you know.
I don't know why the number 65 jumps into my mind. 65 days, but it may have been longer.
Well, another short war was the Dolomite War, 1948. Made Israel a nation again. The Dolomite War, 1948.
Right.
1948. A war to end all wars, Alan. What would that be? War to end all wars. War on one. I mean, Alan, war on one. You heard of that? I heard of that in the 90s.
There was a war on one. It was the Argentine War was 74. The Falklands War was 74 days.
Oh, 74 days, yeah.
74 days. Pardon?
Was the Argentinians claiming land in that area? What was the island called? Portland, yeah. Was it regarding the claiming?
In essence, yes. It was the Argentines called the Falklands the Maldinas, I think it is, the Maldinas or something like that, the Maldives, and they say it's their territory, and the British say it is British territory, and the president of Argentina, a man called Galtieri, was having a bad time in the polls, so he thought, well, let's pretend we're going to get the Maldives back, and so he had a little bit of argy-bargy with some of the land.
Monday Pope from Argentina, he went to see him, president of the Ukraine. Who won the Eurovision Song Contest, Alan?
I don't know. I don't think the result is in yet.
Yeah. Who did you want to win?
I don't care.
Yeah, I know. The people that don't care, hit and run. People that end up in prison, and it's totally not their fault. How many prison cases are there on where you think innocents in jail? What about this president Imran Khan, or ex-president of Pakistan? Been assassination attempt on him, that one. Just been on fire. I mean, if he has to go to jail, the fact he's safe in jail. Brave man. Remember that Viraj Mendes, Tamil Tiger for Sri Lanka under? Hang on.
I do.
Princess Walkway over you in the 80s.
Well, he was in the church. Well, he chained himself to a radiator in a church, if I remember correctly. In Moss Side somewhere. In Hume, actually. Yeah.
We're talking about Moss Side. Do you think it's a Cajun area? When I lived in Moss Side, it was very quiet. The 80s. What would you say is quiet, Alan? Oh, I was going to say, you still go to the library, or which one did you use? Well,
I don't use libraries much, if at all.
Yeah. But what do you read then if you get a chance? You've got one of them e-books. What is it called?
I do have an e-reader, yes.
Yeah. But what sort of paper do you like reading? Guardian or?
I have to read most of them because of my job.
Got papers there, Alan?
I don't have them here, no.
I saw me telling last night today, Philip Scopey was the front page. Why is that? Something to do with Holly Willoughby, was it?
Oh, no idea.
Anyway, there's always someone making deadlines. What do you think about the Sunday People? You ever read that out? Oh, what happened with the Daily Mirror and Robert Maxwell? Did he go overboard in the boat, Robert Maxwell?
Yes, he did. He fell off his boat.
Did Rupert Murdoch take over then? Or Robert's son?
Well, the Daily Mirror wasn't a Rupert Murdoch paper. The Rupert Murdoch paper was the Sun, and after that, the Times. I don't think he has any others in this country.
What area do you live in? In Wrexham?
I'm sorry?
What area do you live in? Do you have a local paper there? Do you ever get the Welsh Daily Post down Wales, the Welsh Daily Post?
North Wales has the Wales version, or the North Wales version of the Liverpool Daily Post, which I read from time to time.
Yeah. What would you say if... I've got a song for you.
Okay.
I've got a song, and you're getting on my nerves. You know, they would want that, Alan.
Okay. Right.
My dad used to say, when you're not watching, turn it off. But my mum said, tell it on for background, just in the background. So.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll contact you again tomorrow night, Alan.
Right, okay. Well, that'll be good. Thank you very much. I can give you some figures if you're interested. Sweden, by figures, these are from 5 minutes ago. And the figures in Eurovision: Sweden are ahead with 194 votes, Italy 109, Israel a third with 108, Estonia 78, Finland 75. Sweden is the woman singer who has extremely long fingernails and appeared to be singing as the filling in a sandwich, which is a bit weird. But then it's Eurovision. It possibly isn't. It probably isn't weird for Eurovision. How do, Liz?
Oh, hello, Alan. You do make me laugh.
Thank you.
I've just been listening to your description of Sweden's Loreen with the long fingernails.
It was like she was in a butty, wasn't it? I mean, she kept pushing the top bit off, and I thought, weird.
Absolutely. But have you noticed that the voting isn't quite as political as it used to be?
Well, I haven't been able to see the voting, but
bits of it in between doing other things.
Yeah.
And, the Scandinavian countries are not voting necessarily for each other.
Ooh.
Finland voted for Israel.
Ooh.
I would have expected them to vote for Sweden. But
Yeah,
well.
then Sweden votes for them then, don't they? It's a sort of, you scratch my back.
Etc. But we were halfway up the right-hand side of the board about half an hour ago, and now we've dropped just above Germany, which is at the bottom.
All right. Oh, well.
Which is a shame.
Well, maybe we'll be back up again.
I don't really care particularly.
No. Well,
I find it fascinating how they all get terribly excited about it.
But
I thought last year's former was good.
It's an amazing event, isn't it? I mean, I've never watched it. I watched the first hour, and I watched Tuesday's semi-final. What's about an hour of that, and it is spectacular. Now the music. The music's not to my taste, and the performances are just crackers. But it's spectacularly crackers.
It is. The only problem now, I think, over the years, it's become more and more about lighting and staging and strobe lights, which must make it a nightmare for people with migraine or epilepsy to watch.
Yes, I was thinking when I was watching, if anybody in the audience has got epilepsy, they're not going to enjoy it. Yeah,
and there was actually a warning on for one of the acts that this would be unsuitable if pets were in the room. So whether it's going to affect their hearing, I don't know, because they have
they're hitting dog notes,
cat notes.
Yeah. Dear me.
Oh dear God! No, I think my taste in music is still with Leonard Cohen.
Well, you have excellent taste, let me say. but I mean, it's a fantastic spectacle, better than I thought it was going to be. I felt duty bound because it's in Liverpool. I felt duty bound to watch some of it, and I wasn't disappointed. The music, but the staging, what a show! What a show! And absolutely incredible.
Incredible, and how much it costs. I hate to think.
Yeah. Well, they get the money back. I'm sure it's not. I don't think they're out of pocket at the end of it, but
hope
just
so.
amazing.
I've not heard of anyone voting for Ukraine yet.
Oh dear. Oh well, maybe that's a good thing, given that they got a lot of. Well, I think they got a lot of sympathy votes last year.
The sympathy vote. Obviously, I don't know where they are in the list, but Croatia and Germany are at the. Oh, we've gone up to. We've got 15 points now.
What's that?
Wow.
10 points.
Somebody on this show earlier saying either it would be the UK or Israel winning.
Yeah, well, they don't know anything, do they? Clearly, they know as much as I do.
Israel was doing quite well, but I think Italy has taken over. It's Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden top, Israel next. Sorry, Italy next, Israel, Finland, and then Australia.
Australia
have got in there, yeah. So,
yeah, amazing how they've got into Europe, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's Eurovision. It's not Europe, but yeah, it is it's all a bit
Yes.
weird. But I mean, all I can say is that Liverpool have taken it to their bosom with gusto. They've been
Absolutely. Well, nobody
brilliant.
could they?
Well,
About
I
how
don't know.
they've done.
There's no complaining. I mean, they've done a cracking job so far. Absolutely brilliant. And the people of Liverpool appear to have taken it to their bosom. And because it could easily have gone the other way, saying, come on, you know. It could easily have gone the other way. And Radio Merseyside.
Just like to say, the whole thing's crap. But, I mean, that's a bit simplistic, isn't it? It's not crap. Some of the music's crap, but...
Yes.
Some of the music is inexplicable and indescribable.
Yeah.
But you can't really knock the staging at all, and you can't knock Liverpool.
But also
And
the
on that-
music. On that
I will
note,
bid you good evening.
all right, smashing, good on you. 0800 218 2255. As I said just then, talking with Liz, it is, if you've never seen it, and to all intents and purposes until this evening or this week, I hadn't, it is spectacular. And I hesitate to say this, but it would do the acts... Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it seems to me that it would be a good idea if they all sung in English. And I know, yes, I know. But there's more people speak English than all the other individual languages. So you're sitting there listening to somebody singing in Swedish, and frankly, only the Swedes understand it to all intents. Whereas if the Swede was speaking English, quite a lot of Swedes would still understand it, as would quite a lot of French and German and Austrian and whatever else. But maybe you don't have to understand it. Maybe it's music as an entity. It's just a sound rather than for real. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. But 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. It's dead easy. You can talk about absolutely anything, and we're here right through until 1 o'clock. Right now, it's getting on for midnight. It's dead simple. I'll do Wendy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hiya. Yeah, I've not called in for a long time.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, it's not really, because I like having a little bit of banter with you.
Okay.
But after that, yeah. So, like, as you being like a radio presenter, the last thing that I heard about the coronavirus, you know that thing, yeah, was like they're putting it on like it's not a scary thing now. So when everybody was going through this, like, even you, because I remember right at the very beginning, you know, it was all this, that, and the next, and you got to do this and you got to do that. I'm kind of like wondering why do not you just have to go with it and just do whatever, but why do they put something that's like, you know, threatening to the world on a scale of like high risk, and then as like the days and the weeks and the months and the years go by, you know, us, even you because you're a human being, you have to choose what you do. Why do they like downgrade? And why? Do you get what I'm saying?
Not yet, but I'm sure I'll get there in the end.
I'm trying to say, so, like, a bit ago there was, like, a disease or a virus that was going about, and I remember, because what I'm saying is, you know, like, you know, people like, live lives, their life with, like, the system, like, you know, you're born, you go to school, and then the next thing is you get a job, and if you're not within like getting a job and you're this, that, and the next. Everything that is about as like a title. So if like you're a young mum, there's going to be loads of people that are like young mums, so they're situated as being like, well, they're all the young mums. So with this, there was loads of people that didn't get the vaccine yet. And when it was like launched to us, it was like a deadly killer disease that was coming from China, and everyone needs to get like vaccinated. And then like you have to go through this like length of time for them to downgrade it. And then the next thing is it's like not so severe as what it was, but the disease, that don't change. It's just like what the systems say. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, the disease doesn't change, but mankind's ability to confront and control the disease changes.
Yeah, but isn't the disease still the same, or the virus still the same?
The disease and the virus is still the same, but mankind's ability to deal with the disease and the virus changes. I mean, when my mother was a child, lots of people died of a disease called diphtheria. Very few children die of that now. Diphtheria is still the same, but the way of dealing with it is better than it was when my mother was a child. And so it takes less of a toll, if you like, on humanity, because we are better able to cope with it.
So back then, like, you know, there wasn't like, you know, as good as like health things like back then when you're talking like your mum and all that lot. There wasn't no like, for a lame example, a plaster. There wasn't none of that. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you know, a plaster back in the day to a plaster now. You know, when a kid cuts his leg on, scratches itself, gets a plaster. You know, the technology that goes into making a plaster, you know, from then to now, that's totally different. So, yeah. So now, like, we're talking about, like, some, like, deadly disease. I'll still go on at you all the time. I know I hear you're leaving, and I tell you what, as soon as I knew, because I heard you back then, because I listened to you all the time, you were definitely going to get off to France. I knew you were. And all I was thinking, like, oh, frog's legs. So he's the kind of guy that's, like, English born and all that lot, and then going to get off to France. I just don't see it. Next thing is, all this murder went on, and, like, I just knew. Next thing is, I heard you went off to Wales, and I thought, wow, something's going on here. And now I'm hearing, because I've not rung up for ages, now I'm hearing all the people that ring in, they're all there going like, oh, hey, Alan, oh, I don't want you to leave, because you've been going on since like January or something like that about how you're getting off. And you've got like a big spread of people all across the Northwest, even all over the world that like know you, and you're getting off, and you don't care because you're getting off. And all these people that ring in, I mean, I tell you now, when you get off for like 2 weeks and we've got somebody else who's on the line, it ain't the same. And I bet you any money that the majority of the people don't even ring in because they're not getting you, because you're like a little establishment. And I hear how you speak. Sometimes you say it as it is, and then the majority of the time you're like, can't say that, can't say that. Now, there's like a two switch situation. You want the people to ring in and give their point of view, but you're not giving the people that ring in your point of view, which that's what allowed you to be on that radio station forever, because somebody will believe that they'll crack you, but because you've got, or you held the button to press them off, that's how you stayed there forever. But now you're retiring, and you thought you were going to France, but you live in Wales, and everyone wants to try and find out where you are living in Wales, just to say, oh, that's what they do.
Right. Well, that was
That's the truth, Al.
Well,
that's the bloody truth.
Well, fine. If that is your truth, you are entitled to hold it. It's been good hearing
Not my
from
truth. Everyone's truth.
there is no
Everyone who rings up. Everyone who rings up wants to like get a grip of you and go, "Hey, Alan," because you are like or led to believe that you're like the helper. And you're actually not. All you do is sit there and listen and probably have a bloody laugh at all us not ringing up. Tell ya. That's what happens.
Well, if that's what you believe happens, then you are entitled to that belief. Do have a good night, Wendy. 0800 218 2255. I can give you the latest in the voting if you're in any way interested. This is from about 3 minutes ago. Sweden is still in the lead. I don't know the voting structure, but at the moment their lead looks unassailable. 340 points. Next is Israel with 177 points, Italy with 176, Finland with 150, Estonia with 146, and there's a very good chance that England or UK will be at the bottom with, I don't know, 1, maybe 2. Possibly even 3. What I didn't understand, they kept telling us when I was watching it earlier that the UK couldn't vote via text. Does anybody know why? I most certainly don't. I was just interested. Why not? I mean, they spend their lives these days saying, "Oh, give us a text. Text us this. Text us that. Text this." Oh, we don't do texting on this programme. We just don't. Everybody else does. We don't. But it would seem that we're in the same boat as Eurovision, because they don't do texting from the UK either, which is strange. Anyway, there you go. 0800 218 2255. Just get on for midnight. We're here till 1 if you want to join us. That's good. In the meantime, we shall wonder, along with Elton John, who seems to have come to a conclusion as to why it's song. The voting continues. I don't understand the structure of the voting, so it's no good pretending. The public votes are now being counted, and judging by some of the numbers that are coming in, that will amend the leaderboard, as they say, quite substantially. But what that effect will be precisely, I have no way of knowing. As I say, at the end of the jury votes, Sweden were way ahead. But there's all sorts of stuff going on. Croatia, wherever's that? Croatia, Poland and all that. They all bring in their own vote. Presumably we get a vote as well. Yeah. It's heading towards a region of possibly... Oh, there, you see, Finland have now taken over the lead, apparently. Yeah. Followed by Italy. So Sweden have zoomed away. I don't know whether I know... I don't know whether I've seen the Finland song or even the Italy song. Not to worry. No, not to care even. 0800 218 2255. Tomorrow morning's newspapers are fairly jumbled up. There isn't a lead story, so they've all got a different front page, which is always interesting. The Sunday Express front page, Rishi's vow, "I won't budge." The Prime Minister tells the Archbishop he will house migrants in barges and stands up to rebel Tory MPs, so that's good. Forget May, Kate steals the show at Eurovision, playing the piano. And the Daily Star, wacky X Factor star Wagner, "I'm going to make a fortune flogging pics of myself playing bongos in the buff." Okay, I wish you luck with that. Kate's Eurovision tribute to Ukraine, says the Mail. That's how they describe her piano playing. Religious leaders, "We have a moral duty to give an Afghan hero a home in Britain. Faiths unite to back our call, our being the Independent, to grant asylum to the pilot who fought with us against Taliban, and the Princess's surprise cameo in glittering Eurovision. I know. The Sunday Telegraph, again the photograph of, hang on, it's Her Royal Highness still, isn't it? Yeah, Her Royal Highness doing the piano thing. Labour to give the EU citizens the vote. I don't understand that. Oh, I see. Migrants who live in the UK and pay tax to be given a say in a general election under Starmer's latest plan. That's according to the Sunday Telegraph. So it's not people in France being able to vote who's the government is. It's people from the European Union who live in this country and pay taxes in this country. Boost defence ties with Taiwan, says Truss. I told you she was in Taiwan. And Johnson didn't want tax rise, but Sunak forced his hand. So who was wearing the trousers there? The Sunday Telegraph. The Daily Mirror front page, Dean Gaffney says, I'm a celebrity, saved me from cancer. Presumably somebody spotted his cancer whilst he was in I'm a Celebrity. The Sunday Times, Kenyan death cult suffocated my baby as its followers clapped and cheered. What an horrendous story. Absolutely horrendous. Matthew Campbell has got a byline for that. That's on the front of the Sunday Times. I'll certainly be buying a copy of that tomorrow. Nursing union chief in U-turn over pay deal. William wants a different coronation from the King. Well, he will have a different one. Whether it will be better or worse, time alone will tell. Perhaps it'll just be him and his missus playing the piano. Letters delivered once a week in the land that Royal Mail forgot. Do you remember daily deliveries from the Royal Mail? Happy days. Sunday People, Johnson's 3.8 million cash deal for a house. Skint Boris discount mega mansion with a moat. I don't know whether he's paid that, borrowed that, or whatever the hell he's done, but that's the story. You'll have to buy the newspaper if you want to get the full detail of it. Sweden have won, apparently. Sweden have won, so they're in the lead, then they weren't in the lead, and now they've won, followed by Finland. So it's all up there, isn't it? You ain't got snow on your boots, you can't do Eurovision this year. How do Maureen?
Hello, Alan. You said it was spectacular to watch. What was spectacular?
It was an amazing lights and performance show. Colourful, energetic, and just technically brilliant.
Yes, yeah. I didn't watch it. Not since Terry Wogan wasn't there, so because he was very funny. With his remarks, so I really haven't bothered to watch it at all. So I just wondered how spectacular it would be. Probably coming from Liverpool.
Well, I can't say whether it was only spectacular because maybe it's spectacular in its presentation each year. I've just never watched it before.
No. Yeah, a lady said you would be retiring soon, but I rang the BBC a couple of weeks ago and actually spoke to a lady, and I explained to her that local radio was very important to older people, older listeners, because from when I was growing up, the radio was everything to us. We didn't have any other way of listening to anything, so that was so. And I said that could you keep it for another 5 years? And when I heard you had like a little stay of execution, I thought maybe that's helped a bit.
Well, yeah, it could well be. I think the administrative difficulty of bringing in the new style of BBC local radio has a large effect. It's very, very complicated, very difficult, and is taking longer than was expected because they've been planning this for a while. So the best laid plans and all of that. But yeah. So it's taking time to get sorted. There's an awful lot of people got to be given the opportunity to apply for jobs, and people have got to be given the opportunity to apply for redundancy if they want to leave, and people have got to do different training in order to be able to do the job. I mean, in BBC local radio, I'm what they call a presenter, and all I do is
Yes.
talk. I don't do anything
Mhm.
else. In future, all the presenters will be required to also be producers, which is a skill I don't have or want. So they'll be presenter producers, so they'll be involved in the making of the programme rather than just presenting it. And that's the same in many, many other areas, certainly in commercial radio that's the case. But that's not something I have any desire to do. That's quite hard work. I've got no desire to get engaged. I've managed to dodge work for about 40 years. I'm not going to bloody start now. so we'll leave that to people who are prepared to work for the money.
Sex on your backside.
Yes, just sit on my bum and talk.
Once in my life, hardly.
It's all right.
Well, as I say, I prayed, that you see, the thing is, I don't listen to local radio until the evening, because maybe you've got another channel on or something. So it's not particularly for me; it's for everybody else that loves it. I've got friends, around me, and they have it on all the time, and they don't know what they're going to do without it. You see.
Well, it will still be here. BBC Local Radio isn't going... Well, I nearly said it isn't going anywhere. It's not disappearing. It's changing slightly in that there'll be fewer local programmes, but there'll still be BBC Local Radio. You'll still be able to tune in your radio to BBC Local Radio wherever you are and get the station. It's just that some of the programmes will not be as local as others.
No, I stopped listening when Roger Phillips used to do 2 hours every day.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And I was on to him quite a few times, particularly when he mentioned people with red hair, And I wouldn't mind because he had red hair.
Indeed he did.
I know, and his mother did, and I said, you don't like red? I love people with red hair, so it doesn't sound like it. So I have 2 sons with red hair, so, well, it's not red, it's strawberry blonde, actually, I'm called. A strawberry blonde.
Well, he's a good lad and a good broadcaster, and, like everybody else, the time comes to retire. He'd been doing it a long, long time, had Roger, and very, very successfully. And in terms of output, missed by loads and loads of people, but everybody stops eventually.
Yes, everything has to change.
Yeah.
Nothing stays the same forever, good or
It
bad.
can't.
Is it?
No, otherwise you'd be still using the mangle. and that tree, that dolly stick, was it called? Like it looked like a milking stool with a long angle in the. In the dolly tub and the dolly going blah, 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 blah. You'd still be doing that, everything changes.
If you could find a dolly tub, plants look really good in dolly tubs, any of that old stuff from years ago.
Do you know what I grow in a dolly tub?
Potatoes?
No, carrots.
What? Carrots?
Carrots, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
If you grow carrots, and they're hard to grow. If you grow carrots in the ground, the bloody carrot fly gets them. Yeah. And also, all the little stones and things in the ground make them all twisted and twonky. If you grow them in a dolly tub, in compost, and by that I mean, a bag of compost, or compost, if you put that in the dolly tub and grow them in that, you get very long carrots. The dolly tub is too high for the carrot fly, so you don't have, you've got every other bug that wants them, but you haven't got that. And you end up with long carrots. If you wait long enough.
Nice to peel carefully, isn't it? So have you got tomatoes growing?
They're just starting to flower now.
Yes, it's about
just
right,
starting. I think I've just got, like 2 steps, as it were, 2 branch offs.
Yeah, I think we're going to be short of tomatoes in the reckon from the summer.
I think I'll go and grow some more. I'll be selling them at back gate for £1 a time.
And cucumbers are going to be short of them as well.
Well, we don't mind them being short because you never eat a full one, do you?
That's what I mean. They're too long and thin. Homegrown ones, absolutely different in the taste. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Not the very long ones. I don't know. They're a shorter one, and there's some you can grow outside. My husband was a gardener; that was his job. So I do miss all of that stuff. Just go and dig a few potatoes up when you need them. But I don't eat potatoes now anyway, so... Right, let's hope we have a good summer for you then.
Well, we shall see, Maureen. Good
Yes.
to talk to you. Have a good night. I'm going to miss a month of the summer because I'm going to Canada, and I've made sure I've got all the, because I'm going up some mountains, I made sure I've got all the cold gear, and I looked at the weather forecast the other day. It was 80 in Vancouver. 80, for God's sake. I'm going to have to reorganise my packing. How do, Simon?
Hello, Alan. I want to talk about Andrew Bridgen, the MP, who says vaccines are evil, and he's got I've heard he's got a PhD or whatever that wouldn't have high qualifications in virology. So I want to talk about why the MP is Andrew Bridgen. He's right, by the way, because vaccines are evil. They're evils because they're turning us into bloody robots.
Well, it certainly worked with you. Have a good night. 0800 218 2255. Andrew Bridgen has been the hard-working and local MP for North West Leicestershire since 2010, following a successful career in business. There you go. Because for a debate on the Perseus report and the conflict of interest in the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, blah, blah, blah. And he is very much anti-vaccine, which he is entitled to be. It doesn't stop him being a prat. 0800 218 2255. Want to join us, you can. There again, you could hang lying on the floor with very, very long fingernails between the two edges of a light sandwich. She did. Loreen is her name. Loreen. Can you tell Loreen from butter? I don't know. Anyway, she won it with her song called Tattoo. Oh dear God. I said we'd be next to last, and guess what? We were. Mae Muller finishes second to last. Mae Muller of UK fame. Why we are rubbish at Eurovision, I know you're going to say we came second last year. Well, we would have even won if there hadn't been a war going on. But all that counts for naught. Mae Muller came second, and the winner was Sweden's Loreen with Tattoo. I don't know whether she has one, but she's got very, very long nails, as I said. But that's weird, isn't it? What is it? Why are we bad at Eurovision? Is it because we're so good at music and and that hinders your chances at Eurovision? Because it's not really about just the music, is it? Is it? Clearly not. I mean, her song was all right. I saw hers because in the first hour. So I saw that and I thought, well, that's weird. For a start, she's got her knickers on over her trousers, which is not a good look. And then she was wriggling about between I'd have been terrified if it was me. Between them things. It's like she was having a CAT scan, you know? So her lights coming at her from below and above and squash it. We're not quite squashing her, but, oh, man. I mean, they must have that top bit, must be on a string or a chain or something. And if the chain broke, you know, she'd have been squashed, I tell you. And so I'd have been a bit claustrophobic at that. But anyway, there you go. And then there was that other woman who, you know them toilet roll things? Oh, you remember them. Someone will crochet a toilet roll cover and they have a little doll in it. And you plop the doll, you stand the toilet roll on its side, so there's a spare one in the bog, as if you're full of money and you've got a spare bog roll, and you don't rip corners off the newspaper on a Saturday. And there it is. And it's got a doily. It's like a doily, only it's a toilet. Get it? Yeah. And she looked like that, but it was 20 foot high. So there was this titchy woman at the top, and then this dirty, great big frock. And I thought, if she's on still, she's going to walk along that promenade, but she wasn't. And it slowly, as she was singing, it slowly sank, and I thought, it's buggered. They broke it. And the hydraulics have gone. There's a leak, and she was singing her head off, and it was going like somebody let the air out of it. You couldn't hear it, but it was going. Anyway, that was planned because she got to the bottom. She had a big frock that covered it all, and she got to the bottom and carried on singing. Good on her. And you could see then because she was dead high up, and I thought she's in no. That's not a place to be, is it? Right. But it was okay because they had a post behind her and she was leaning on that. I thought she was going to the George Foreman. I'm leaning on that, but it wasn't. And it was at the back like that. She was presumably tied to it as if she was, you know, I don't know, as if what, but the firing squad or something. She stood there like that, sort of wailing away, tied to the post like the firing squad, with a big frock going down 20 foot to the floor. And then she just went... down to the bottom, all the way down. Yeah, I know. Yeah, who sang that? Who sang down? Yeah, I thought it was them. Anyway, and then she carried on singing, and it went up again. There's some bloke at the back pumping like bugger, pumping like, and up it went again. Only a frock stayed at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, it was meant to. It's not like she went up and you thought, oh, look at that. No, it had come off, and up it went. Right to the top again, and then it all went dark because the song was over. It went dark, and they went to that strange woman that used to be on Strictly yapping on, and all that. And then when it back, it all gone. It must have moved it all in the dark. It must have been incredible to be there, because if you're there, it's like when you go to a play. Sometimes you go and watch a play, and they have an interval and they change all the sets, but sometimes. They have people all dressed in black. You can still see them. I don't know why they bother dressing in black. It's not like it's a secret. And they have a blackout. And then you can see them moving about with little torches. And they move the furniture around, trying not to bump into it, is the advice always. And they move it about like that. And get it all sorted. And then the lights come back on and they carry on with the play. Different people. The actors do the play bit, obviously. And they do that. So that was okay. But if you're there, in the arena... at the M&S Hall, well, I bet they've sold some chicken Kiev. Anyway, in the M&S Hall there, looking, you will see it all going on. Like at the circus when they're putting up the high wire and all that, you'll see it happening. Or putting up the cage in the days when they had lions. They used to build a cage and the lions come in. And then when the lions were finished, the clowns come and larked about a bit and threw bits of paper over you, pretending it was water, while they took the cage out. And then the clown coming in the car that fell apart. I've had one of them. Any road, it must have been quite something to be there. But she was up on that. What was the other one that was odd? Yeah, well, they were all odd, weren't they? Let's be honest. Anyway, I think it was her that won. This is her. No, this is the one in the sandwich. The light sandwich, isn't it? Yeah, Sweden and Tattoo by. There you are. Tattoo by Laureen. Eurovision Song Contest winner. Going to hear that a lot over the coming months, and then it'll fade. And mind you, she did sing in it. I said, didn't I? I did say these other nations ought to sing in English because they'll get more votes because people know what they're on about. And lo and behold, did to that in the show. So. Maybe in me, I put 2 and 2 together and got 6. But the reason I got 6 is because I added a 2 that I already had in tandem. I had it in my pocket, a sneaky 2 ready to slip out should it be necessary. Early on, there was a goodwill message from Ringo Starr, and he said, like he always does, hello, I'm not going to do the accent, it's too offensive. Hello. Ringo here, just in case you didn't know. You know, probably the world's most famous drummer. Ringo here. And I just want to say, love and peace. He always says love and peace. Does the reverse V sign. Love and peace to Liverpool for Eurovision. Now, I put 2 and 2 together. That's the first 2 interview. Them drums, Sam Ryder, special drummer. Second interview, another 2. Them drums, Sam Ryder's special drummer. Yeah, tonight. Liverpool message from Ringo. Love and peace, Eurovision, Liverpool, blah, blah. I jumped to the conclusion the drums, Sam Ryder's drums, are going to be played by Ringo Starr. That's what I thought. Ringo Starr in Liverpool. Yeah, if he knows the way still. Because he's not a bad drummer, for all Paul McCartney said. Not a bad drummer at all. And I thought, definite. Well, no. Roger Taylor out of Queen. Still a spectacular drummer, but I think I was had. I'm going to write a letter of complaint. I think I was had. You misled us. You mizzled us. I thought, Ringo Starr tapping it out. I thought that would be perfect. That would be the icing on the cherry, on top of the cherry that's already on the cake. I got that the wrong way around and tried to dig myself out of it, but didn't succeed. But it would have been the cherry on the cake, and it wasn't. It was Roger Taylor, who's not bad, but, you know, he's not Ringo, is it? Well, I can see clearly now. Somebody, this is weird. I think we're only getting half the story at the minute, which is fine. Oh, by the way, if you want to join us, there's still a phone in, you know. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, 0800 218 2255. We're here till 1. You got about 25 minutes to join us if you can be bothered. But you're probably just worn out from Eurovisioning and getting into bed and thinking, bugger him, I'm going to sleep. Not to blame you, I'll be doing the same myself. But, yeah, strange story. I think it's strange. Somebody has sabotaged a Royal Navy ship, a warship. Now, you'd think they'd be heavily guarded, and they presumably are. But HMS Glasgow, as it's called, was on the Clyde. It was there, parked up, presumably having a look round. But somebody cut some cables. Now, it doesn't say what kind of cables were cut, which I guess is fair enough, really. But yeah, and so it's. I don't think it's. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be a foreign power, is it? It's going to be some disgruntled individual or some anti-war person or just some clown with a saw. This is the spokesperson. We uncovered a limited number. What does that mean, a limited number? And billion's a limited number. Seven's a limited number, but so also is 2. We uncovered a limited number of cables on HMS Glasgow earlier this week, which appear to have been damaged intentionally. Now, were these them big fat hawser cables? Probably not, that hold the boat still in dock. Or was it, a couple of cables going to the captain's bedroom light? We don't know. We're not getting enough information. The story just teases us, doesn't it? Well, it's teasing me. Because how does that happen? These things are supposed to be very, very heavily guarded. So one presumes if there has been sabotage, it's someone that works there. I don't suppose it's Russians' frogmen that have swum all out from Scarpa Flow underwater and then climbed up the side with one of them ooky ladders and gone in and just cut these wires and we'll go again. Ivan. Okay, Ivan. All Russians are called Ivan in this story. Okay, Ivan, we've done that. Let's get out of here. Splash. Swim. Back in the canoe and gone. It can't have been that. Can't have been. Must have been somebody who had a right to be there, but misused that right, mustn't it? Anyway, the story caught me. I will perhaps have more of it in the paper tomorrow. How do Stephen?
I do, Alan. Okay, pal. Going back to Swedish, Boris Johnson, to have a girl on TV. She made a good living. She was
she did all right. She made a bob or two. Yeah.
Well, out of Eriksson, England manager, Sven-Göran Eriksson. Yeah.
He did all right. Yeah. He was a football manager on England. Yeah.
Yeah, England. Yeah.
Mm.
And I want to okay, I'll talk about the benefit system. I want to spoke to you before. Universal credit, it's penalising the wrong people, and Alan, I expect your opinion, Alan. And I spoke about a couple of weeks back. I went to a free bank, and when I went in, I wasn't embarrassed by myself, but I bit my tongue, you know what I mean. I went in and I was meant to feel welcome, and the Irish part was walking in.
I bet.
Yeah. And he started to explain that situation.
No, I mean, I fully understand the difficulty. I think if I needed to, eventually you do it, but I don't think I'd find it easy. I'm not good at asking for help anyway. And
it's tough. It's tough in that situation. I walked past 3 or 4 towns. Well, I've got to go in. I've no choice but go in. I kept walking past, and I thought to myself, I want to see it's hard to explain. And being in that situation, it's tough.
It must be, and I don't know whether I'm right in saying this, but all the harder if you've never had to do it before, as it were. But of course, there are people who, for their whole life, have had to ask people to help them because they've had difficulties since they left home, as it were, and it's just, I mean, it's hard to countenance that it goes on in this very wealthy society of ours. It's just extraordinary.
It shouldn't be case, should it? It shouldn't be case.
No, it shouldn't.
I'm not saying ask for help, but it's biting the bullet, and that first time you do it, you get that. I'm not saying confidence for walking that free bank, but you feel a bit more welcome to walking.
But it shouldn't be necessary. Our benefit system surely ought to be able to give a person a roof and 3 meals, oughtn't it? I mean, what are we paying all this damn tax for? You know, I mean, the people pay a lot more tax.
Going back to last week, Alan, that coronation, King's Charles, and Erasing Song Contest, that's cost the taxpayer a fortune. Alan, but I'm not seeing no benefit to that. People is struggling to pay the bills, and put food in the fridge. It completely man. It can.
It's incomprehensible. The level of benefits, they've been awful for decades, but the level of benefits in this country are just, well, they're just disturbing. I've told the story before. My wife, many years ago, was making documentaries for BBC Radio 4, and she was making one about the difficulty that some people have just living their life. And there was a gentleman she interviewed, or her presenter, my wife produced it, but interviewed a gentleman in Bristol. And he was on various benefits. He couldn't work. He had extremely bad skin condition on his legs and could only have cotton against his legs, so cotton socks, would you believe?
So he had to be careful, yeah. So his job is limited what he could do, yeah.
Yeah, but he knew the price of cotton socks in every shop in Bristol city centre, because he couldn't afford to buy them, really. His money didn't go far enough, but he had to. So he had to walk miles, because he couldn't afford bus fares and the like, to get the cheapest. And he knew where the cheapest were. Now, I don't... This will sound awfully arrogant, but I don't know how much socks cost. I haven't the faintest idea. If I need socks, I just buy socks.
I want to work for a place like that. He got his market. He must have known that man said cheapest shop. You know, yeah. Might £1.99 for a 4-pack of socks. No, they're 4-pack. They might last them two, 3 weeks. That's how people I think today. Alan went on that 20 years ago, but it's getting worse now. It's getting worse.
And it's just, it's soul destroying. And I know other people who, you know, pay their taxes and all the rest of it, think, well, hang on a minute, what am I paying them for? And we still pay them, but the amount of tax, we are now over time, we have become, the position currently is that we are more taxed than we ever have been before. And I don't just mean paying more, because of course we're earning more, or we have more, we're more wealthy, or at least we have more money. But we're actually, as a percentage of income, we're paying more tax than ever before. But how can it be, if we're doing that people are hungry?
Food bank, yeah, food bank. You can't comprehend it, can you? It's hard to explain to people. Yeah, it's like a catch-22. I'm working with agents for 2 days a week. Now, if I do 2 days a week, I've got to pay a full rent and full porter. So I'm working for 2 days a week. I'm no better off. But if I turn a job down a job centre, I turn one down. I've turned the wrong one down now. I've turned the wrong one down. I've got to pay a bus fare. I know it's only £2 bus ticket, one way and other way. So that's like £4 for a day saver. Now, if I'm turning work down a job centre, it snowballs. It goes against me. 2 days a week's no good to me. I want 5 days a week. I can't get 5 days a week. And me, I do something like paying bills and TV license and water rates and poll tax and rent. And I apologise on one thing, but I like to speak to people. I live on my own now, and that makes it worse. I live on my own. It's hard out in this service. It's tough. But I don't know. I'm sorry for that. I don't want to worry.
Not to worry, Steve. That's why we're here. But listen, I'm glad you went to the food bank, and I'm glad they treated you with a welcome and weren't. I mean, why would they be? But they weren't surly and thinking, "Oh, here comes another one." It was, "How can we help you?" and all of that, which is exactly as it should be, and that's right and proper.
It works out. You get a voucher, and it's like a blue voucher. I'm allowed free shops. Right, I can go 3 times. I don't have to pay nothing, but you're limited to what you get. I mean, when you're struggling, a tin of beans and a loaf of bread and 6 eggs. That'll do me a couple of days. It's a meal, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a meal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But, and when you go in there, there's like a little chocolate box that we can have like a dairy milk or a Yorkie bar. Just, you know what I mean? It's not. It don't mean a lot to me, but it means a lot to me. You know what I mean? It's something. And when I get back on my feet, I'll donate to them. When I get back on my feet, working wise and money wise, I'll put some money in a charity box. There's a little box where you can donate. And sometimes I feel bad if I put 20 pence in, or 50 pence. You don't know what you're putting in, because I feel better.
That's what matters. Stephen, good to hear from you, mate. How do Ricky?
Good. Not quite there, but I didn't watch it, but I did hear some of the Eurovision. It was quite cool, and that young lady did deserve it. I didn't watch it, but there's a lot of commentators. I won't name the names, and he said there was a person that came on singing it, and he said it looks like she's got 2 walnut whips on her hair. Singer. Oh, it was a blast. I had a big crying because I heard some of the words and it hit home. And just before you go, I've relied on food banks, and I told you before, I'm just getting the support I need. And I know it's hard, but it's not a bad thing. It's like, eventually, push comes to shove, and I give some money, and actually bought a puppy guide dog. No, a little fluffy one, and it gives something back, It's good. It's a charity, I give something back and it comes back to me. So but I do, try and do things to give things back, even if I'm on my low ebb. But I do try to eat, and slowly I'm getting a bit better so I can work. But it's hard. Times are hard. But if people have to support you,
Times are hard, and regrettably they're not so hard for quite a lot of other people. But the lower end of the finance ladder is awful, I'm sure. Absolutely awful. And when you see people swanning about living the high life, you just wonder. Good on you, Ricky. Good to hear from you, mate. How do Gary? Hello, Gary.
Hello?
What do you want to talk about, Gary?
Just a little joke.
Okay.
Married couple are sat at home watching the telly, and well, the bloke's got like bad flatulence. So his missus says to him, "You know that is terrorism to my nostrils." He takes it on board and they carry on watching the programme, and he disappears for about 30 seconds. Comes back, sits down, and his missus says to him, "Where have you been?" "At Guantanamo Bay."
Oh well, one day we'll get a funny joke. Thank you, Gary. 0800 218 2255. If you want to join us, you can. Still trying to work it out, getting nowhere. Well, who was their latter day saxophonist, used to present a jazz programme on BBC Radio Manchester, which is how I came to meet him. And I've only just found out that he has his own album called Ever Open Door, which is him on saxophone and clarinet, along with a string quartet and a Hammond organ. And I think I might have a listen to that, see if it's worth buying. How do Eddie?
How do you do, Alan? I hope I'm not over-modulating.
I wouldn't know. I don't even know what it means, but what we'd like to talk about.
Well, you do. You usually say OD.
Sorry?
Anyway, Alan, I've just enjoyed the entire Eurovision Song Contest. Thank you for taking my call this late time. I've got you now on sound. I've just finished watching the Eurovision and the results. I won't spoil it if anyone's half interested. But can I commend you for the work you've done, not just for all the people. I used to speak to you earlier, 30 years ago, with all the counselling, advisor, CAB, and you are an amazing bloke. Simple as that. I know it's getting very late.
Yeah, there's probably less about that.
Trust me, Alan, I've worked in radio, I've worked with bands galore, I won't name any of them, but you are an absolute consummate professional. And I'm pleased that you will enjoy your holiday. But anyway, brilliant Eurovision, absolutely loved it. I'm not a Euro fan, but it was a really... Liverpool excelled. And to all the Liverpool listeners now, your city have done you proud. I'm a Mancunian, and I couldn't think of a better way of doing this for Ukraine. You are absolutely amazing people. Utterly, utterly brilliant.
Good on you, Eddie. Good on you. Thank you very much. And I can concur with the Liverpool bit of it, because I think Liverpool have done absolutely superb. And I think BBC Radio Merseyside have done incredibly well also in presenting the local side of it all. You know, it's a big international festival, but it's also local people doing things. And BBC Radio Merseyside have been very much involved in that, rightly so. How do Sam?
Hi, Alan. Do you know where the international waters are?
Where the what are?
International waters. So it's part of the sea where anybody can go there. It's basically free zone international waters.
Well, it varies. It's often 50 miles from the coast of a nation, but some nations claim 200 miles as their territory, and beyond that is international waters. So international waters are waters that are not covered within the boundary or the gambit of a claimed nation.
Okay. So can a nation go to international waters off that boundary whatever that boundary is, and fish there?
I don't know the answer to that.
Or is the
because
fishing rules might be different?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay,
because
can they build a city? Can they build a floating city on the international waters?
I don't know the answer to that because they would be covered by international law, and I know zilch about international law.
I'd imagine some millionaire would have built a city on international waters if there was no international law.
Building a city on international waters, first of all, they're going to be very, very deep, so your ability to anchor that city is quite small, and then you've got the difficulty of getting all the materials there and all the rest of it.
A village.
So, a village. Even a house. You'd still have to stop it disappearing in the waves, which can be 60 foot high in some seas. So it's probably not a good place for a home, really.
Or you could build it in the sea, like on the seafloor.
Well, you could, but the sea's quite deep out there, really.
Oh yeah. You need to keep getting oxygen, like a pipe all the way up to the surface that throws oxygen into the town or village or city.
Oh, so you're going to have the city on the seabed.
Seabed, yeah.
Right.
Because of waves. Because
the pressure might be tricky.
Pressure. Oh yeah, there's pressure on international waters, deep waters. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been an interesting thought. Good to hear from you. If you want to build a city in that, what's that trench called in the middle of the Atlantic where there is only darkness? That is it. There's nothing else. Well, there's plenty of other things, you just can't see it. Yeah, the Mariana Trench, something like that. Well, I think that's a girl I went to school with. It's something like that. Is it the Mariana Trench, or is that three Mexican blokes playing trumpets? I don't know. See you Sunday night. Have a good one. Ta-ra.
BBC News at 1 o'clock. This is Andrew McNair. The Eurovision Song Contest has been won by Sweden. Loreen becomes the first woman to win it twice, and Sweden have now more wins than any other country. The event was held in Liverpool, and because last year's victor, Ukraine, was unable to stage the event because of the Russian invasion. The event's co-host Graham Norton presented Loreen with the trophy.
You now enter the history books. Only the second person to win the Eurovision contest twice. Wow. Johnny Logan being the first. Now you. How does it feel?
Oh my God, this is overwhelming. I'm so happy and I'm so thankful. Thank you for this. This is for you. Thank you.
As she signed off, one of the hosts, the Ukrainian singer Julia Sanina, paid tribute to Liverpool.
Well, it has been incredible, isn't it? But it's time to say goodbye. Liverpool has been an amazing host on behalf of Ukraine, and we will always be united by music.
The UK's entry, Mae Muller, came second last. The RMT union the rail passengers have endured more disruption as members of the RMT union walk out. The services were severely disrupted across England and on some routes in Scotland and Wales. The leader of the RMT, Mick Lynch, denied that the union had targeted Eurovision with its latest walkout. A ceasefire has taken effect in the Gaza Strip after 5 days of fighting between Israel and Palestinian militants. More than 30 people have been killed this week. All but one of them have been Palestinians. Police in Kenya have exhumed 22 more bodies from mass graves linked to the Doomsday cult, in which people starve themselves to death in order to get to heaven. It brings the total number of victims to 201. The cult's leader, Pastor Paul Mackenzie, is in police custody. An investigation is underway into an alleged act of sabotage on the Royal Navy ship HMS Glasgow, which was under construction at a shipyard. About 60 cables are said to have been cut. And one of the oldest clubs in the country, Notts County, are back in the English Football League after 4 seasons of non-league football. They beat Chesterfield on penalties after the two sides ended their National League playoff final 2-2 at Wembley. The Notts County manager, Luke Williams, paid tribute to his side.
I can't comprehend it at the moment. I don't know. I'm just lost, but
people talk about togetherness and these type of things, and very often they say the words and don't practice the actions, but we black and white, we stuck together incredibly, and we achieved so much together.
And in the Premier League, Southampton have become the first club to get relegated after losing 2-0 at home to Fulham. That's the BBC News. It's now 3 minutes past 1.
BBC